Hello, thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Xenia Woolman, and I am with Rochester Wealth Strategies. Now, we are a fiduciary, independent, and fee-only financial planning and investment firm located right in downtown Rochester, and we are so excited to partner with Navigate Home. Now, if this is your first time here or you're not familiar with Navigate Home, we're basically a group of professionals that are diverse in our area of expertise, but our purpose is to help seniors and their families with any issues that may come up. So if it's a simple question to something as a complex life-changing situation, we're here to help. We provide resources and education to get you through those difficult times and move on. So if there's anything that you need or any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Even if you're not sure which way to go, we can help guide you. Now, for today's presentation, I thought a slideshow would be more helpful than just listening to me and watching me, so that you could take notes and see what we're going through. So I will begin that now. So today we want to focus on financial planning basics. What does a financial plan consist of? Do you actually need one? I'll provide a general overview, but we'll have future videos that cover each area in much more detail. In fact, I did host a budgeting Facebook Live session not too long ago, so if that is of interest to you, go back and check it out. Also, we have several informational flyers and worksheets available, whether email or mail. I'll refer to them throughout this presentation, and if you'd like any or all of them, simply contact us and we'll get them to you. You can reach us by messenger, email, or phone. All three are available on our Facebook site. So when we think of financial planning, many people think retirement or just investment goals, but there is so much more involved in a plan. It includes budgeting, prioritizing all of your goals, creating a savings strategy, and last but certainly not least, protecting you and your loved ones. Everyone in a sense does need to have a plan of sorts, but not everyone will be the same. There's always different purposes, not just retirement. It might be college savings, income, debt consolidation, etc. And as your goals change, so should your plan. So it's not as daunting as it sounds, though. Don't worry. So step one, budgeting. Do this regularly, at least once a year. Understand your cash flow. What do you have coming in for income? What expenses are going out? Know what you're paying for and how you're paying for them. If there's a deficit from income minus expenses, find a solution. Cut spending, consolidate debt, maybe earn more income in some way. If there's extra, great. How do you save it? How much do you keep liquid? And that's part of what a plan will assist with. You'll also want to check your credit report at least once a year. One, of course, is to prevent identity theft, but two, insurance rates and certain loans, or all loans, actually use your credit score as a way of gauging what rate you're going to receive. So you don't want to pay more than you have to. Now, included in the budget or discussing the budget, we do have 3 worksheets that we can send out. The first one actually lists everything that you may be paying for. So sometimes you forget those little things like, lawn maintenance or certain groceries, eating out, etc. The second one is an automatic payment list. So you list who you're paying and how you're paying for it. It helps track things in case there's a question or problem, etc. You can refer back to it. The third one is a checklist of bills that you pay each month. If you're forgetful or busy, like myself, it's nice to know, oh yes, I did pay the water bill, or I did pay this if it's not on automatic payments. So our next step is to prioritize. As we go through life, our priorities change, our goals change, even later in life. So it's important to understand what's worrying or concerning to all parties. Now, one thing that we've created is a concerns flyer, and it's a list of topics that may or may not be of concern to you, but it helps start that conversation. So take the time to think about what you want, what's important to you, what keeps you up at night. Things like whether it's debt pay down, whether it's titling and estate planning, business succession planning, insurance, etc. It's important to know. Now, if you are married or have a partner, what you could do is write this down or do this separately and then bring it together. There's several times I've found that what is concerning to one partner is not concerning to the other because they may have already handled it or taken care of it, or They just aren't worried. So coming together to have that conversation is pretty eye-opening. But also an advisor, I love to have this piece of information because regardless of how things look on paper, I want to know what's important to my clients. So it kind of helps us get started. Where do we start? How do we address those issues and then move on to handle the rest? Next step we determine is how much do you need? Whether your goal is 5 years out or 20 years out, 30 years, etc. We basically take the cost of it in today's dollars and adjust for inflation. After that, we create a strategy. It's the financial plan, and we will get to that shortly. So saving. Now, if you're just getting started, if this is your first plan, or really just revisiting things, the first step is determine how to invest that extra that you have from your budgeting, and to meet your goals. So, when we talk about investing, though, it's not just the investments per se in a traditional brokerage account, etc. It may be a piece of real estate, art. It could be precious metals, gold, jewelry, etc. So anything that really appreciates in value, and sometimes it could just be a savings account. But we want to really clarify that because there are different ways to go about investing to meet your needs. So first of all, determine how to invest by understanding, what's available to you. How comfortable are you in taking risk? If you're not comfortable, if you can't sleep at night, it's not right for you. Now, understanding your options, knowing what's out there is a priority. Don't just stop at one and say that's great. Review a few different options and make sure that they fit your needs. Now, when we talk about how does it work, it's not that you need to know every single little minor detail of what you're investing in per se, as much as understanding, the cost, understanding the time frame, the purpose, how it's invested, but most importantly, how does it benefit you and get you to meet your goals? So again, it's not about the product as much as it is about how do we meet your goals? How does it help you personally? Now, I am being intentionally generic here. Obviously, everyone's going to have a different goal and a different plan, a different line of investments and comfort level. So it's important to understand, again, what is important to you? What are your needs? So up next is protect. Now, personally, I feel that this is the most important part of planning and potentially the least discussed. So talking about the what ifs, what worries you? Going prior to what are your concerns when we talk about priorities? What about loss of income if something happens with work or a disability, if you were to pass away, or care for a loved one if you're unable to? Also, distributing your assets based on your wishes, so making sure your wishes are known. We do have another worksheet called Final Wishes and Instructions that is available for distribution. It was something that you would keep at home, and it's a little bit of a guide for loved ones to know maybe computer passwords or phone information, who to call for things that you may not have listed elsewhere. Certainly not a legal document, but it's kind of a guide or a roadmap for loved ones to follow if the event occurs and they need assistance. The second step is researching and understanding risk. Now, we can't plan for or know everything that's going to happen, of course, but we can think about, one, what do we personally worry about? Again, what keeps us up at night? And I know I keep saying that, but what I worry about is going to be different than what you or someone else is going to worry about. But then you take the next step and think, what is the probability that the event is going to occur or that specific situation? And if it's very minimal, certainly you may not need to, devote a lot of resources to it. But at the same time, again, if you're concerned, how do we protect against that happening? So one aspect is proper titling to make sure that your wishes are followed and that the people that you want to receive your assets or act on your behalf are able to. Another option, though, may be insurance or a product that helps protect against a devastating incident. So in that case, going back to the prior slides, you're going to want to make sure that you understand how those products work and how do they specifically help you protect against those losses. So now we're going to talk about protecting your assets through titling. Things that you want to consider: is everything properly titled to meet your wishes? How do you make those wishes known? Who do you trust to follow your wishes? Who do you want to leave assets to after you've passed? And what are the financial consequences of that? Is there going to be a tax burden, or is someone receiving financial assistance that they'll no longer be eligible for? So, two things to consider. Advance directives. Now, whether you are unable to act on your own behalf while you're still living, or if you've passed, it's important to make your wishes known on how you want things handled or managed. So an advance directive, like a will, trust, or living will, are going to do just that. Now, of course, you have people that you're going to want to act on your behalf, the people that you trust. So that's where the power of attorney comes in, whether it's medical, general, limited. There are several types. It's important to have both, because one without the other could cause consequences that you weren't intending. Now, this is a general overview. Again, we're not experts in the field of estate planning per se. You will want to talk to an attorney, but it's important to have ideas of what's available to you. Now, some additional considerations to think of include healthcare costs in retirement. If you retire before age 65, you will have to pay for healthcare on your own before Medicare begins. As you age, we generally find that we will have increased healthcare costs or needs. Taxes. What does the current tax situation look like? Are there ways that we can make things work more efficiently so that you don't have to pay as much? Your income needs. Where do you take income from? How will it impact your overall assets? How does it impact taxes? And inflation, of course. We've looked at the cost of living average for Social Security. It's less than 2%. I don't remember if it's 1.3 or 1.6%. So how do we make up the difference, and how does it meet in line with your goals? So now we've talked about budgeting. We've talked about prioritizing and understanding what your goals are. We've talked about savings, how to put everything together, how to be comfortable, and how to understand how everything works to meet your goals. And protecting, to make sure that you don't suffer any unintended financial consequences or other consequences down the road. When you put all four of those together, that is what creates a plan. So a plan is essentially, it's a roadmap for you, for loved ones, and for your advisors to determine how you achieve your goals. Whether it's retirement, college, leaving a legacy, purchasing a home, or, downsizing, etc. It's a way to provide peace of mind. It's essentially a tangible booklet that shows the how and why it could work. Now, obviously, nothing is ever set in stone. And again, this is something that you're going to want to review at least annually, because as things change, this needs to amend for it. Now, where do you do this? You could try it on your own, depending on how simple your situation is, but find a trusted advisor, a loved one, someone that has a expertise in this area, and allow them to help you. So I wanted to say thank you again for listening to me, and I hope this information was useful and relevant. We would love to hear your feedback, so please contact us if you would like any forms or have additional questions. We are here to help. Otherwise, please stay safe and healthy and have a great weekend.